Hello, Exhibiflix again. Before we start, we invite you to visit us at exhibiflix.com, our own channel, to watch great movies and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Today we will talk about the great film director Orson Welles. George Orson Welles was an American actor, director, writer and producer who is remembered for his innovative work in radio, theater and film. He is considered one of the greatest film directors of all time. He was born May 6, 1915 in Kenosha, Wisconsin, son of Richard Head Wells and Beatrice Ives Wells. Despite his family's affluence, Wells encountered hardship in childhood. His father, who made a fortune as the inventor of a popular bicycle lamp, became an alcoholic and stopped working. Wells's mother, a pianist, played during the lectures by Dudley Crafts Watson at the Art Institute of Chicago to support her son and herself. On December 28, 1930, when Wells was 15, his father died of heart and kidney failure at the age of 58, alone in a hotel in Chicago. Shortly before this, Wells had announced to his father that he would stop seeing him, believing it would prompt his father to refrain from drinking. As a result, Orson felt guilty because he believed his father had drunk himself to death because of him. While in his 20s, Wells directed a number of high-profile stage productions for the Federal Theater Project, including an adaptation of Macbeth, also known as Voodoo Macbeth, with an entirely African-American cast, and the political musical The Cradle Will Rock. On September 15, 1926, Wells entered the Todd Seminary for Boys, where he came under the influence of Roger Hill, a teacher who was later Todd's headmaster. Hill provided Wells with an ad hoc educational environment that proved invaluable to his creative experience, allowing Wells to concentrate on subjects that interested him. Wells performed on stage theatrical experiments and productions there. In 1934, Wells got his first job on radio, on the American School of the Air, through actor-director Paul Stewart, who introduced him to director Noel Centrinkin. In 1938, his radio anthology series The Mercury Theater on the Air gave Wells the platform to find international fame as the director and narrator of radio adaptation of H.G. Wells' novel The War of the Worlds, which caused widespread panic because many listeners thought that an invasion by extraterrestrial beings was actually occurring. Although some contemporary sources say these reports of panic were mostly false and overstated, they brought Wells instant fame. The combination of the news bulletin form of the performance with the between breaks dial spinning habits of listeners was later reported to have created widespread confusion among listeners who failed to hear the introduction. Although the extent of this confusion has come into question, panic was reportedly spread among listeners who believed the fictional news reports of a Martian invasion. The myth of the result created by the combination was reported as fact around the world and disparagingly mentioned by Adolf Hitler in a public speech. His first film was Citizen Kane in 1941, which is consistently ranked as one of the greatest films ever made, which he co-wrote, produced, directed, and starred in as Charles Foster Kane. Wells conceived the project with screenwriter Herman J. Mankiewicz, who was writing radio plays for the Campbell Playhouse. Mankiewicz based the original outline of the film script on the life of William Randolph Hearst, whom he knew socially and came to hate after being exiled from Hearst's circle. Wells' project attracted some of Hollywood's best technicians, including cinematographer Greg Toland. For the cast, Wells primarily used actors from his Mercury Theater. Filming Citizen Kane took 10 weeks. Hearst's newspapers barred all reference to Citizen Kane and exerted enormous pressure on the Hollywood film community to force RKO to shelve the film. Citizen Kane was given a limited release and the film received overwhelming critical praise. It was voted the best picture of 1941 by the National Board of Review and the New York Film Critics Circle. The film garnered 9 Academy Award nominations, but won only for Best Original Screenplay, shared by Mankiewicz and Wells. Wells was an outsider to the studio system and struggled for creative control on his projects early on with the major film studios in Hollywood and later in life with a variety of independent financiers across Europe, where he spent most of his career. His distinctive directorial style featured layered and non-linear narrative forms, uses of lighting such as chiaroscuro, unusual camera angles, sound techniques borrowed from radio, deep focus shots, and long takes. He has been praised as the ultimate auteur. The Lady from Shanghai was filmed in 1947 for Columbia Pictures, and it was intended as a modest thriller. But the budget skyrocketed after Wells's then estranged second wife Rita Hayworth was set to co-star. The film was considered a disaster in the US at the time of release, though the closing shootout in a hall of mirrors has since become a touchstone of film noir. Not long after release, Wells and Hayworth finalized their divorce. From 1949 to 1951, Wells worked on Othello, as he was channeling his money from acting jobs into a self-financed film version of the movie, based on Shakespeare's play. It was filmed on location in Italy and Morocco. Filming was suspended several times as Wells ran out of funds and left for acting jobs accounted in detail in his published memoir Put Money in Thy Purse. The American release prints had a technically flawed soundtrack, suffering from a dropout of sound at every quiet moment. Wells's daughter Beatrice Wells Smith restored Othello in 1992 for a wide re-release. The restoration included reconstructing Angelo Francesco Lavagno's original musical score, which was originally inaudible, and adding ambient stereo sound effects, which were not in the original film. Orson Welles stayed on at Universal to direct and co-star with Charlton Heston in the 1958 film Touch of Evil. Originally only hired as an actor, Welles was promoted to director by Universal Studios at the insistence of Charlton Heston. The film reunited many actors and technicians with whom Welles had worked in Hollywood in the 1940s. Filming proceeded smoothly, with Welles finishing on schedule and on budget, and the studio bosses praising the daily rushes. Nevertheless, after the end of production, the studio re-edited the film, reshot scenes, and shot new exposition scenes to clarify the plot. Sentinels of Silence. It's a Mexican 1971 short documentary narrated by Orson Welles in the English version and Ricardo Montalban in the Spanish version, and it's notable for being the first and only short film to win 2 Academy Awards. In 1941, Welles received the support of Bishop Fulton Sheen for a retelling of the life of Christ, to be set in the American West in the 1890s. He scouted locations around Mexico and wrote a screenplay with dialogue from the Gospels of Mark, Matthew, and Luke. Another interesting and unfinished project of Orson Welles was Don Quixote, or Don Quixote. In the mid-1950s, Welles began work on Don Quixote, initially a commission for CBS television. Welles expanded the film to feature length, developing the screenplay to take Quixote and Sancho Panza into the modern age. Filming stopped with the death of the actor playing Quixote in 1969. Orson Welles continued editing the film into the early 1970s at the time of his death, and the film remained largely a collection of footage in various states of editing. The project, and more important, Welles' conception of the project, changed radically over time. A version of the film was created from available fragments in 1992 and released to a very negative reception. Orson Welles died sometime in the morning of October 10, 1985, following a heart attack. A public memorial tribute took place on November 2nd at the Directors Guild of America Theater in Los Angeles, hosted by Peter Bogdanovich. In 1987, the ashes of Welles and Maury, his ex-wife, were taken to Ronda, Spain, and buried in an old well covered by flowers in the rural state of a longtime friend, bullfighter Antonio Ordóñez. Orson Welles received several awards and recognitions throughout his life, including the American Film Institute Lifetime Achievement Award, and also the Directors Guild of America presented Welles with his greatest honor, the D.W. Griffith Award. Thank you for watching! What is your favorite Orson Welles film, and what other topics would you like us to analyze? Have you subscribed to this channel? Ring the bell to be notified of new videos. Share our content. Like us. Also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And what are you waiting for? Visit us at exhibitflix.com for great movies and follow other film lovers.